Welcome everyone to another edition of Late Night with Nico. Tonight we're diving deep into the enigmatic world of online gambling and its uncharted territories of illegal gambling. Welcome to the world where pixels meet the thrill of the casino floor. In this video we'll explore the fascinating intersection of gaming and gambling and its impacts on players, industry and society. Buckle up for a ride through the high-stakes world of your favorite games. CSGO is an online first-person shooter game that has been a household name in the industry for years. Did you know around 80% of all Counter-Strike related content is sponsored by gambling sites accessible to kids without any sort of registration or verification? But you may ask, Nico, what does an online game have to do with gambling? Well boy, let me tell you. This is a CSGO loot box, also known as case. It costs $2.50 to open, and after you open it, you can get either a good skin or a bad one. Because you actually can transfer these skins from player to player, they hold monetary value, with the most expensive and rare skins having been sold for $500,000. Yet again, $500,000, and has a market cap of, listen to this, 4.5 billion, creating a whole functioning market. Now, it is no secret that third-party websites can use this market in order to profit. Hundreds of trading sites and skin pricing sites have been operating for years and years now. And of course, gambling sites didn't fall short of the trend. Upon tracking the most visited top 28 CSGO gambling sites, we found out that they have an online traffic of 47 million different users each month. When you compare it to the biggest online casino, Stake, who is actually sponsoring entire football clubs, they only registered 27 million. Now if you ask me, that is mind-blowing. But many of these websites do not actually label themselves as a gambling operation, but rather as a trading site. Which begs the question, what is considered gambling? With such an intricate topic, we've brought some of the brightest minds to guide us. Our first expert for the night, and an insightful legal advisor who has been analyzing illegal gambling activities in the online sphere. Please welcome Selim. So, Selim, thank you for coming.
Thanks for having me. As you all can see, within minutes, one can immerse themselves in the world of online gambling. The barrier to entry is frighteningly low. But when does a website transition from being just another online game to a full-fledged gambling platform? Well, it's simple.
So, why is it actually important? Why are we talking about this? And why should people know and actually switch their attention to a topic so important as this one?
Well, we are going to reach into the importance and why we should definitely go and study this a little bit more. But first, let's see what can be considered as gambling. So, in order for a business to be considered a gambling or a site to be considered a gambling site, it must meet these three criteria. The first one is called consideration. So, the players must spend real money or something of monetary value in order to enter the site or to be able to play. Then there is chance. That means that the outcome is defined purely by luck. So, whatever the player will be getting is just a chance.
I see.
And the third one is the prize. So there will be a prize or something that each player can win, and they wish to win that specific prize because that's why they're playing in the first place, as you can imagine.
Okay.
The alarming fact is that many of these platforms are deeply intertwined with games that children love. And as such, they bypass all illegal checkpoints targeting our young ones. These websites often operate without a license, skirting the lines of legality by exploiting loopholes and international jurisdictions.
Wow.
And it's these shadowy operations that have led us to treacherous crossroads of gambling and gaming. But now, Nico, thanks and back to you.
Thank you for shedding light on that, Selim. Now, for a unique perspective on the topic, let's hear from our next guest, a dedicated ethnographer who's been diving deep into gambling communities, Yason.
Thank you so much for the introduction, Nico. So some of the texts utilized in our research was Convergence Between Gambling and Gaming by Jeffrey L. Derevensky and Mark Griffith, published in 2019. The Convergence of Gambling in Digital Media, Implications for Gambling in Young People by Daniel King, Paul Del Fabro and Mark Griffiths, published 2009. And lastly, The Convergence of Gambling and Monetizing Gaming Activities, again by Daniel King and Paul De Fabro, published in 2020. Since this topic is new, there is not enough research that has been conducted and a lot of questions remain unanswered. Diving deep into the lives of gamblers in the search of answers is already complicated on its own, but when the online aspect is brought into it, things get even messier. To research the reach that those online gambling sites have on teens or even pre-teens, we have to understand that the research itself should be conducted online. Online forums should be where most of the answers we're looking for are. Just by chatting with its users or just reading the posts posted there, we can gain some insight on what drives the youth to spin again. I would propose to firstly release surveys on those sites, focusing on the demographic of gamblers. The surveys at first should include simpler questions like have you ever engaged in the loot box currencies of games, and should gradually be focusing more on the interest of the individual and if they're aware that they're gambling, with questions such as would you think that you're participating in online gambling when entering those sites? And lastly, we should definitely follow up the quantitative part of our research with more in-person interviews with the users of the forums, so we can draw conclusions on the relations that they have with those sites, and at the same time to draw conclusions on how intertwined the loot box system currency is with online gambling sites.
Thank you, Yasonas. Last but not least, we have Efe, who has a PhD in sociology, who will unravel the social impacts of our topic. Please welcome Efe.
Thanks, Nico. About the social impact, as you said, I firstly want you to picture this. Over 2 billion people worldwide are gaming enthusiasts, and actually this number is also increasing. And the virtual world became their escape from reality. But in today's world, games are not innocent, and gambling has been transformed from bright lights of Las Vegas to online games. Now let's talk about the societal impact of this. Okay, it's not just black and white. There's a spectrum ranging from the responsible gaming to the depths of addiction. Okay, you've got the positive gambling, where the government controls everything, but then there's also the problem gambling. This is when addiction takes the wheel and money becomes a pawn in a never-ending game. The consequences are not limited to just losing cash, but also the strain on families and the impact on society itself. Desperate gamblers may resort to criminal activity impacting their communities and themselves. There are mental struggles too. Losing your home or car on a bet can take a toll on your well-being. Families torn apart, marriages shattered, and those glamorous dreams derailed. Problem gambling is not just an individual battle, it seeps into the society. We must understand these consequences to strike a balance between entertainment and responsibility. Studying the profound impacts of gambling is not just a matter of curiosity, but also it's crucial for our society's well-being and progress.
Now, what have you learned today? Well, gambling on an online gaming environment is a serious issue. And as you can tell, not a lot of research has been conducted. So I think we should shed a bit of light on this topic, and more research should be conducted. Whether it's the methods proposed by Yasonas or whether it be other methods, this is a serious issue that, if not dealt accordingly, can cause serious impacts and consequences. Thank you for joining us on this episode of The Tonight Show with Nico. We'll see you on the next one.